Welcome to the Lynn Community Television Show, a program which focuses on organizations working to make their impact right here in the city of Lynn. Here with me today from East Lyn Little League, we have Julio Mary President, and Mary Beth Curley, player agent, and we're here today to talk about the value that this league brings to the Lynn community. But first and foremost, let's learn a little bit about our guests, who they are, and what they do. Julio, let's start with you.
My name is Julio Polonia. I've been the league president for 3 years now. This is my 15th year in the league. All three of my kids have graduated from East Lyn Little League. And I coached, managed, vice president, and now president for the last 3 years.
Now you must be an example type of member, parent that Little League, the organization of Little League wants. They want parents to come in, they want their kids to play ball, and they get involved with the organization. And then it's kind of like your aspect of community outreach. Yeah.
I was told when I first started, in order to get the days of practice that you want to be the coach. That way it tells you what your schedule is, you make the schedule. Right. And that worked out pretty good.
All right, so you take that initiative and look where you are today, president of the league. Mary Beth Curley, you're a player agent over there, so you work heavily with the kids, the parents. Let's make our viewership aware how you're involved with the league.
So I'm the player agent. I've been the player agent for about 5 years. I am responsible for making sure the registration goes smoothly, getting all the registration out, assigning the teams, making sure all the paperwork's in place, just making sure that everyone has contact information in, the coaches get the information they need about the teams. It's a lot of background work, a lot of computer work.
Right, logging, detail like that. Mm-hmm. So now as a president, a value that Mary Beth holds to the league, what can you say about that?
A couple of times she's not want to do it. And last year we talked about that. She was getting tired. From January to April, it's probably the busiest job.
Okay.
After that, it gets a little easier, but her job is probably, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I do not want to do it.
So you're going to be thankful for Mary Beth.
Always.
Always.
Always. I offered to make phone calls for her last year so she can stay on.
All right. Well, there you go. You're jumping in, doing some of that. Now, as a president over there, you could probably speak to the mission of Little League and then East Lyn Little League. So in a nutshell.
Well, Little League International, their mission is to get every kid to play baseball. And we carry that all the way through East Lyn. Any kid that wants to play baseball, we're trying to accommodate so they can play. Whether it be schedules, whether it be teams, playing with their friends. Most kids will request to play with their friends. We try to accommodate to the best we can. Okay,
so it's really more of a matter of fun.
Yes.
We're basically raising future Lynn citizens, trying to teach them morality, sportsmanship,
teamwork. Yep. Teamwork is the most important thing.
Things like that. All right, great. So Mary Beth, a big part of your job, a big part of the whole league really relies on what you do over there. So just to make your job a little bit easier, a lot of these parents, they're asking you the same types of questions. This is your opportunity to explain to them the normal day-to-day stuff that you hear. Questions and concerns for parents. What are they regularly?
I think one of the biggest one is when is registration, and we hear that usually in April. Registration actually starts in January for the city, for the entire city of Lynn, but no one's thinking about baseball in the middle of January. So just letting people know that we have a website, we are on Facebook, so we try to keep things updated with information about where to go to find information, like dates, times. I think trying to find out when your practices are and who the coaches are and some of that stuff is very frustrating for parents, especially at the beginning of the season. There's only a handful of us doing the volunteer piece of it. So we have a tough time sometimes finding the time to get all the information out in a timely manner. But everyone who works with this league does an amazing job, and the coaches that we get, which is really, I think, really hard sometimes to find parents who can dedicate the time to managing and coaching these teams. And it's not just showing up on the game day to coach the kids. It's making phone calls. And I think some of the parents think that we don't do anything but this all day.
Right.
And we actually, everyone that I know that I work with who volunteers works full time as well as doing this on the side. So.
It's very important to point that out. These are volunteer positions.
Yes.
So this is out of the kindness of your own heart. And it's a lot of work, is what we're talking about right now. For parents who are new to the league, and they want to engage it, and they want to become part of it. What kind of suggestions would you make to them?
I would say we have meetings twice a month, starting usually once a month during the off season, at least twice a month during the season. So they're open meetings. Parents can come down and ask what they can do to help. We're always looking for people to help with fundraising ideas, to work the concession stands, just to even help clean up after games or clean up during the. We have bathrooms that need cleaned every day. We need people to help. Little things like that take a lot of time, and the coaches are coaching 4 or 5 hours at night. Then they have to stop and do that as well. So anyone who wants to help out, there's always a job to do. So
there's plenty to do down there at East Lyn Little League. Big part of it. Absolutely, we want to bring in baseball players. We want to bring parents alike, but also volunteers too. Types of volunteers, family members of kids who are playing, that type of stuff. Those are the types of guys that you're working with. Guys who are down there regularly. So for those just joining us, we're here today. We're talking about the East Lyn Little League and the value that they have right here in the Lynn community. If you want to find some additional information, you can jump onto their website, www.eastlynnlittleleague.org. You can also send them an email, eastlynnlittleleague@gmail.com. They're on Facebook /East Lyn Little League, 781-775-3568. So I want to talk a little bit about the seasons. Right now we're in the spring season, all right? You guys have a fall ball season too.
Yes.
Are there any other leagues that do that?
I believe 4 of the 5 leagues in Lynn do that.
Okay, so this is a big deal.
Yeah.
How did fall ball come into existence? I mean, what really set it off?
It started with 2 teams, and it kept growing and growing. Now we have 16 teams to play. It's called the Alice O'Neill Tournament. Alice O'Neill was very instrumental in getting Little League into Lynn. She was the player agent and the district rep for a long time. Actually, she got me started. She was one of those that walk up to you and says, "I need a coach, and you look like you know what you're doing. Come coach." And most of us, that's how we started, with her.
Right.
And so they renamed the fall tournament to Alice O'Neill Tournament, and now it's growing every year. I believe the 4 or 5 leagues from Lynn, Swampscott, Salem, they all participate now. They're part of District 16.
Wow. So Lynn is a huge inner city, 92,000 people here, probably more than that. I can't remember when the last time that figure was actually done. There are a lot of people living in the city of Lynn, and what that affords for is a lot of different cultures too. So I'd like you guys to tell me a little bit about the diversity that's present there and how that is of value to kids at such a young age, especially in today's times. Mary Beth?
I think it's a huge advantage. We have kids who parents don't speak any English, but we have a lot of our volunteers who speak multiple languages, so we're really good at being able to accommodate almost anyone who's interested. If we have a coach who calls someone they can't speak with the person they're talking to, we call Julio or someone else in the league, and they're able to reach out to that family. So we don't lose kids because of that, because we have so many volunteers and so many parents who are such diverse populations that we're able to keep the kids in. And it's always a struggle sometimes. I think they feel like they can't volunteer as much because they don't speak English sometimes, but we really make an effort to try to get them involved as much as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't be shy, absolutely not. You can reach out to these guys, Mary Beth or Julio. They're looking for volunteers, regardless of what language you speak. So I want to talk a little bit about Little League. Obviously, we're talking about Little League, but I want to talk a little bit about just the kids. In coaching, I'm a coach over at St. Mary's for lacrosse and football. I learned real quick that it was very little about X's and O's, and it was more or less like about, hey, don't put that in your mouth. Hey, you shouldn't hit him. Oh, I know he hit you first. Be the bigger man type stuff. And you're trying to instill values into these kids. I'd like for you guys to just openly talk about that. Julio, you've been involved with the league for a long time. Your kids went through it, you were a coach, now you're the president of the league. You must have learned a lot about the focus, the pillars, so to say, of East Lyn.
Usually in practice, you'll see it more. The kids will interact a lot better. During the game, the competitive spirit takes over. But after each game, everybody lines up at home plate and shakes hands. Whether you won or lost, all we tell the kids is good game. That's all you're supposed to be saying. Don't be saying, oh, we beat you and all that stuff. It happens sometimes, but we try to correct it. We have a very good group of umpires. They're very good at pointing out if you made a mistake, correct it, don't let it happen again. because nobody wants to start anything.
Right.
But once it starts, you have to quickly control it so it doesn't escalate.
So sportsmanship,
Yeah.
big one.
Big one.
Absolutely. Now these guys have to see the example of community engagement, but just by their parents too. You've been involved with the league for a long time, and you've been along for about 5 years now?
I've been part of the league for 11. My oldest, when he was 5,
So
started.
11 years. Now these kids, are you starting to see any of these kids coming back maybe with their own kids who are engaging the league? Or is that a little bit too soon?
Well, we have 3 kids right now that help out just about in every game at the field. And they all graduated. My son is one of them, he's 14. There's another kid that's 14 also, another kid is 16. And they come back every game to volunteer. They'll run the stand, they'll help the people run the stand. They're not sure what they're doing. So we do see that a lot. A lot more kids that graduated from the program come back and start to get involved.
That's awesome. I mean,
Yes.
and that's going to speak volumes to the leadership like you guys. You know, you got to be doing something right to gain, you know, the support of the kid when he's a kid, but even to get them back when they could be out doing anything that they want. I know one of them's your kid, and you really don't have all the choice in the world. But I mean, obviously he's looking up to you, and he's seeing, hey, Dad's doing it. There's a reason for this, something I can do too. Now you said you had kids that had gone through the league. Both of you guys, are your kids in high school now?
I have one in high school, one in junior high, and one still in the league, yes.
Julio?
I got 2 in college and 1 in high school.
All baseball players, or are they still?
My daughter plays softball in the league. My son's still playing college baseball.
All right.
And the young one's playing freshman team in English.
All right, all got their start right there at East Lyn Little League. I was never much of a baseball guy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I had the attention for it or the athleticism. Let's be real. I was the best 12-year-old in the 10-year-old league. I'll tell you what, though. But one thing about baseball to me was that I can understand now is the technical aspect of it. And you know, you see the kids when they're younger, it's really not so much, but then you see it kind of click in high school and in college. You know, the competition that your kids see at the college level. I mean, all those kids, they grew up playing Little League baseball as well.
Yes.
So there's got to be a value in teaching kids the program and the sport early on. There are about 5 leagues in Lynn, right?
5, yeah.
5 leagues in Lynn. And do you guys do any interleague cooperation, collaborations at all?
Yeah, and we play during the month of May. The major teams will play interleague. So every Saturday, 2 of our teams will play 2 teams from around the city, and that will happen for the first 4 weeks of May. And then when we get to tournament time, we get to play any of the 16 teams that are part of the district.
Wow.
And fall ball, we get to play a lot more against each other.
It's a big deal. I mean, it's a huge demand to meet in the city. Youth baseball. I never really knew how big of a deal it was until we started having all these Little League guys come on. So, Mary Beth, you're heavily involved with these kids. I want to talk about just the age groups. You know, how the teams are picked, how these kids are categorized, and what demographic.
So the youngest kids are 4 and 5. They're our T-ball level, and then we start slowly move them up. It's all decided by age, which is set by National Little League. They give us the rules that we have to follow around ages.
Okay.
So we have what we call T-ball. We have a single A and a double A, which are very instructional. It's T-ball, they hit off the tee. Single A is all coach pitching to them. And then once they move to double A, they start trying to teach them how to pitch and how to teach kids how to learn how to pitch from other kids pitching at them, which is a lot different than a coach lobbing a ball at them.
Right.
And then we start really getting into more of a competitive level with a triple A, and then they move into what we call our major level, which is actually they have to try out. There's drafts for those teams, and that's where it gets really competitive. That's where our all-star team is drafted from, and those are our oldest kids. Those go up to age 12.
So in your experience, guys, your history over at East Lyn Little League, have you ever been recognized outside the local level for your efforts? By Little League, by the state, anything like that? Tournaments?
Tournaments, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how much you guys win. I like that stuff.
For a while, we didn't win any games in the All-Star team.
Okay.
2 years ago, we won a game. Last year, we won a couple of games too. So it's getting better.
All right.
But there was a drought there for a while.
So how does the All-Star team work? It's just you form the team, one game. If you lose one game, you're out?
Double elimination.
Okay.
You lose the first game, you have a chance to go play another game. If you lose that one, you're out.
Now, how are the teams broken up? Is it into regions? Is it throughout the North
It's
Shore?
to District 16. District 16 is Lynn, Swampscott, Nahant, Salem, Peabody, Linfield, and Saugus.
All right.
So there's 16 teams altogether.
Mary Beth, where would you, I mean, if you could speak on this, where would you say the biggest demographic of players are in District 16?
Where the most kids are?
Right.
It's hard to say because Lynn is so broken up between the 5 different leagues that we're kind of diluted in Lynn. It's not a bad thing. It's just that there's a lot of kids. Some of the other cities aren't quite as broken up, so they have a larger pool of kids to pull their teams from.
And that's going to help for competition when you've got, all of your kids in one community on one team. You can pick from the best of the best. I mean, we're splitting them up between 5 groups here in Lynn, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, we still have got 5 different teams competing.
Correct.
All right, so I mean, that helps our odds out so much. Guys, I want to say, what you guys do, there isn't a lot of kudos that you're going to get. It's never going to be a big article in the paper about Mary Beth and all of the admin works that she did, or the fact that Julio spent an extra hour making sure that the bathrooms were clean because the volunteer guy didn't show up. But I know what it takes, and what you guys do, the value is untapped for the kids and the experience that they get. And they're developing these bonds with kids at their age. I mean, it really is. It's amazing. And I want to just say thank you guys for what you're doing. Keep doing the great job that you are. Julio Polonia and Mary Beth Curley, these guys are from East Lyn Little League. It is an outstanding organization here in Lynn. Find more information at www.eastlynnlittleleague.org. You can also send them an email at eastlynnlittleleague@gmail.com, Facebook /East Lyn Little League, and you can reach out to them via the phone, 781-775-3568. I want to thank my guests for coming on to the program. That's it for the Lynn Community Television Show from the studio here at LCTV. I'm Sean Donahue, wishing you all the best.